Have you ever felt that even after one small portion of potatoes or a single piece of fresh bread, your belly literally starts to grow before your eyes? You haven't even finished clearing the table, and your jeans are already digging into your sides as if you've been inflated with air. You start a diet, you cut out everything that brings you joy, but the moment you slip up once, the scale skyrockets. It's not your fault. You've been lied to, convinced that carbs are your greatest enemy. In reality, the enemy isn't the carbohydrates themselves, but the enzymes that turn them into fat the very second you swallow them. Imagine there is a fat factory running inside your gut. As soon as starch and sugar enter, this factory kicks into high gear, turning every gram you eat into new rolls on your waistline. Until today, you had no way to stop this conveyor belt other than starving yourself completely. But what if I told you that sitting right in your pantry in a jar of sauerkraut is an emergency kill switch for this factory? It's plain cabbage brine. But not the vinegar-laden stuff from the supermarket. I'm talking about the real, live, fermented stuff. Hidden inside is tartronic acid, a natural blocker. It works like an invisible guard. It finds the exact enzymes that turn potatoes into fat and handcuffs them. You eat the food you love, but thanks to this brine, your food simply passes through your system, never getting the chance to turn into excess weight. When I weighed 260 pounds, I was a slave to my appetite. I knew the taste of every bun, but each one turned into years of misery in front of the mirror. My herbalist mentor told me one thing: Val, you're trying to put out a fire in a building that is being set ablaze from the inside. You don't need to stop fueling, you need to shut off the fuel line. He pointed to a simple, cloudy liquid from a jar of sauerkraut. I laughed skeptically until I saw my dead fat start to vanish, even though I didn't stop eating carbs. Today, I'm revealing the cabbage barrier protocol. I'll show you how one glass of this liquid gold after lunch changes your body's chemistry. But be careful, if you buy store-bought brine with vinegar, you'll just get bloated and wreck your pancreas. I'll teach you how to prepare the exact brine that forces your fat cells to starve while you enjoy your meal. Are you ready to turn every lunch into a weight loss procedure? Let's begin. I still shudder when I remember the time food turned into a personal hell. Do you remember that feeling of standing in the kitchen, staring at a plate of boiled potatoes that smelled like childhood, feeling nothing but fear? I was terrified of every bite. I knew if I ate that potato, an hour later my belly would bloat as if I were 5 months pregnant. This was a true carb trap. I was a prisoner of my own appetite, relapses, tears, endless attempts at another dry diet consisting of nothing but chicken breast and cucumber. My life became a constant count of grams and calories, and social holidays were torture because I felt like an outcast who couldn't even have a piece of pie without paying for it with swelling and extra weight. I felt as if my body was a traitor, working not for me but against me. Every spoonful of porridge turned into a personal failure. But in my darkest moment, when I was ready to accept that fat and miserable was my life sentence, I met a man who had seen thousands like me. He watched me push away a plate of normal food with shaking hands, and he just laughed. He said, "Val, you're fighting the wrong army. You're trying to defeat your nature instead of making it your ally." He brought me a jar of ordinary, cloudy, homemade cabbage brine. I was outraged. "Are you serious? It's just salt water. It'll make me bloat more." But he just smirked and replied, "It's not water. It's an enzymatic bomb. It's the only remedy that knows how to turn your food from your enemy into your tool. Drink this after your meal and watch your chemistry change." I was so desperate I didn't care. I drank that brine after lunch, and you know what happened? Nothing special in the first minute, but an hour later I didn't feel that familiar leaden heaviness in my gut. 2 hours later I wasn't falling asleep like I always did after starchy meals. It was the most amazing discovery of my life. I ate what I loved, but my belly stayed flat, and the energy inside me remained steady and calm. I started experimenting, and in the first month I lost 18 pounds without giving up my favorite potatoes or a piece of rye bread. I realized I didn't need to starve. I needed to learn how to block the fat factory using simple tartronic acid. I stopped being a carb prisoner. Today, I'll tell you the whole truth about how this product, which our ancestors ate for centuries, became my personal shield against obesity. This isn't a miracle, it's biochemistry that creators of trendy keto diets keep silent about because it's not profitable for you to be healthy for mere pennies. We're going to break down how this works at the molecular level and why your pancreas will thank you for this simple but genius secret. You will finally stop being afraid of food and start getting the energy you are entitled to by birthright.
Let's look deep into the heart of this metabolic magic, the secret biochemical kitchen where nature prepares the best remedy for blocking extra pounds. Hidden within real fermented sauerkraut brine is an amazing, almost magical compound, tartronic acid. Serious scientific literature studies it as a powerful antioxidant, but for us, it is a real, living lock on the doors of that fat factory inside your gut. Imagine what is happening in your system right now, 30 minutes after you've eaten, say, mashed potatoes or a piece of bread. Normally, your enzymes begin frantically breaking down starch into glucose, and your liver, seeing a surplus of this glucose, instantly sends it to fat storage. It's an automatic process. Ate more than you spent, you got fat. But tartronic acid works completely differently. It tricks the enzymes. When this acid reaches your gut after a meal, it is as if it binds the hands of the very enzymes that turn carbohydrates into fat. It blocks the process of lipogenesis, the creation of fat from sugar and starch. Do you understand what that means? You give your body energy, you give it the pleasure of eating, but you don't give it the ability to cement that energy into new folds on your waist. It's like buying movie tickets, but someone locks the doors before you enter the theater. You don't watch the boring movie, you stay outside, free. Tartronic acid is your metabolic fail-safe. It prevents glucose from turning into bad fat, forcing the body to spend it as current fuel. And while other foods are being warehoused in your problem areas, this simple cabbage elixir allows you to enjoy familiar foods without paying for it with your body. You aren't just drinking brine, you're literally hacking the program your body has been living by for years, stubbornly storing everything extra for a rainy day. Your liver, which has been working to the point of exhaustion trying to process this carbohydrate load, suddenly gets a massive break. You'll notice your complexion changing by the end of the first week. That carb grayness, puffiness, and dullness will be gone. This means your cells have finally gained access to quality nutrition, not sugar glue. If you don't like the salty taste, add a drop of lemon juice or dilute it slightly with plain water. It will keep all its blocking properties but become much more palatable. Now I'll show you under a microscope how molecules of tartronic acid surround the obesity-causing enzymes and literally shut them down, preventing them from turning your lunch into extra pounds. This is a restoration process that returns your right to eat and stay slim, something you could only dream about while reading magazine headlines. Imagine how a flow of clean, vital moisture rushes through your body again, like in your youth, carrying energy to every cell, not a fat fold. This is the biological foundation of your weight loss, your longevity, and your glowing health. Without this cleanliness and protection, all your weight loss attempts will just be a temporary mask, not a real solution to your main problem.
Listen very carefully, my golden ones. We are moving to the most important stage, the selection of that very live brine, without which your protocol will turn into ordinary salty water that brings zero benefit. Many of you think, Val, what difference does it make which jar of cabbage I buy at the store? It says fermented, so it must be healthy. No, my dear ones, the difference between what's on supermarket shelves and what your body needs is massive, and it could cost you your health. Almost all store-bought cabbage is a dead product. Manufacturers specifically add acetic acid so the fermentation process stops, so the jar can sit on a shelf for months without exploding. Vinegar is not tartronic acid. Vinegar kills all beneficial bacteria, irritates your stomach, causes swelling, and blocks your liver, turning the brine from a healing elixir into ordinary food waste that will only hold water in your body. You want to cleanse and block fat, not poison yourself with artificial acid. Therefore, look only for products where the label lists nothing but cabbage and salt. No vinegar, no citric acid, no preservatives. The ideal brine should be slightly cloudy. This is a sign that life is boiling within it, that it is full of the very bacteria that will help your gut work properly. When you bring such cabbage home, know this: the brine is holy water for your metabolism. How do you know if the brine is real? It should be slightly fizzy, with a pleasant, tangy, salty smell that doesn't punch your nose with a harsh vinegar odor. If you see that the brine is clear as a tear, it means there is no fermentation, and you won't find any tartronic acid there. It's just salt water. We need a product of natural, slow fermentation that the wood or clay has preserved with its natural strength. This is your personal concentrated reserve of vitality that you will take for yourself to fight the carb prison. When you open a jar of proper cabbage, pay attention to the color. It should be natural, without any unnatural additives. And remember, consume this brine only in its live state. Do not boil it. Do not heat it. Any temperature above 40 degrees Celsius, 104 degrees Fahrenheit, will instantly destroy the structure of organic acids, and your fat hunt will end before it even begins. Sages always said, if you want a product to work for you, don't try to improve it with fire. We must prepare the brine so that every molecule of tartronic acid is preserved. Now I will show you the difference between store-bought vinegar brine, which only makes you bloat, and a real fermented product that triggers fat burning. You will see how the very energy ready to pass into your cup is preserved in live brine.
In the next block, I will teach you exactly how to take this elixir so it becomes your most valuable morning ritual, helping to block fat from every bite you take. Now, my golden ones, when we have lovingly and attentively selected the most correct, the most live, truly fermented cabbage brine, let's prepare our fat-burning elixir by the rules of the ancient healers. This isn't just a drink you down on the run to quench thirst. It's a real, almost sacred metabolic ritual. The proportions here are as important as in a pharmacy when crafting the most expensive, complex medicine. I take exactly 2 tablespoons of our live brine. Not 3, not half a cup, but exactly 2 firm, confident spoonfuls. I pour them into a small ceramic or glass mug. And now, pay attention, here comes the biggest secret that only our ancestors knew, passing it down from generation to generation as a family heirloom. Many of you make the mistake of drinking the brine undiluted. If it's too concentrated, too salty, it can cause a sharp spasm of the bile ducts or irritation of the stomach lining. For our tartronic acid to start working softly and effectively, it needs to be awakened with clean, structured water. I add exactly 100 milliliters of room-temperature water to these 2 tablespoons of brine. Not ice-cold, from which your stomach will shrink, and not boiling water, from which all beneficial bacteria will die and organic acids will collapse. The water should be soft, calm, at room temperature. This is the exact environment where our enzymes feel at home and begin their amazing work directed at blocking the fat factory. Immediately after mixing, we need every sip to be filled with life. Look at how the structure of our drink changes. From a cloudy liquid, it turns into an amazing light elixir that literally glows from within, like liquid amber, having gathered all the power of long fermentation and sunlight. While the infusion stands for those few minutes, essential oils and organic acids inside perform their amazing, almost magical dance. They mix with water, forming the very healing suspension that will work in your body as an invisible guard, blocking the transformation of carbohydrates into fat. After 2 minutes, we don't lose a single drop of this treasure, because there is where the whole power of the cabbage is hiding. We drink our infusion slowly, savoring every sip so that the receptors on our tongues send a signal to the brain. Attention, serious metabolic work has begun. Now I will show you under a macro camera what this thin, barely visible live film looks like on the surface of the finished drink, formed by probiotics. This isn't just liquid, this is your personal defense, your personal metabolic engine that won't let a single extra calorie settle on your waistline. In the next block, we will break down the schedule, why you shouldn't drink this infusion and immediately sit down for lunch, and the catastrophic mistake those who rush through life make, not giving our fat blocker time to distribute evenly through the gut. Are you ready to become your own furnace? Then listen to me very carefully. Many of you, my dears, make the same heartbreaking and fatal mistake. You swallow this spoonful of priceless cabbage seeds, wash them down with warm water, and 5 minutes later run to the kitchen, turn on the kettle, butter your toast, or fill your plate with a hot bowl of porridge or potatoes. You mustn't do that. Please hear me. You must maintain a pause of exactly 30 minutes.
This is a law that cannot be broken if you want to get results, not just waste time and overload your stomach. In these 30 minutes, invisible, subtle, almost jeweler-like work happens inside your body that you don't even suspect. Your dandelion root infusion is not food. It's a liquid key to triggering deep thermogenesis. It must pass through the stomach safely and descend lower into the small intestine to begin its hot work far away from stomach acid, warming you from within. If you add any other food immediately, even a light yogurt, a piece of cheese, or an apple, your stomach will instantly give the command, "Attention, food has arrived, begin digestion," and all the juices, all the enzymes, all the stomach's energy will be directed toward breaking down proteins and carbohydrates. Your mustard seeds, instead of quietly reaching their destination, will be buried under a mass of food. They won't be able to unlock their potential. They won't be able to trigger that very internal bonfire we dream of. These 30 minutes are the time for your metabolic restart. Your liver, your gallbladder, and your intestinal villi receive the signal, "Attention, preparation for burning has begun. Engage safety systems." They begin actively to prepare to stop excess sugar from reaching the fat depot. If you drink the water with seeds and start chewing immediately, this signal is completely overridden by the chaos of digestion. A cup of this water with seeds is a clear, unambiguous command to your body. Stop sleeping, stop hoarding garbage in the form of cold fat, start blocking fat production. When you finally sit down to eat after half an hour, your digestive fire will be burning brighter than it has in decades. Your body will start extracting energy from every piece of food with incredible efficiency, not storing a single gram in the spare tire on your waist. You are setting the rhythm of your metabolism for the entire day ahead. You aren't just drinking water with seeds, you are resetting the entire organism, changing the very program your every cell lives by. Breakfast or lunch after such preparation will be fully absorbed, without remainder, without that heavy feeling we've all unfortunately gotten used to after 60. This is your daily tuning, your morning prayer for your health. See how the energy level changes after such a pause. You won't feel drowsiness after eating. You will feel true life waking up inside you. You will fly, not walk, and this feeling of internal warmth and lightness will become your constant companion if you just remember that 30-minute pause. It's a small sacrifice for a great goal, so your body finally starts working for you, not against you. Let's now, my dear ones, explain as simply but as deeply as possible what exactly happens inside your body when this golden, fragrant infusion passes through your digestive tract, minute by minute, step by step. Imagine your gut, our most important, most significant vital gate, through which everything you eat enters the blood. Over the years, sadly, these gates become leaky and too trusting. All that sugar, all that starch contained in potatoes or bread is instantly absorbed into the blood, causing sharp spikes in glucose. And the pancreas, in response to this sugar tsunami, dumps insulin, the hormone that is the key to fat cells. Insulin opens the door to the fat depot, and everything you ate turns into your sides, belly, and double chin. It's a vicious cycle. Our cabbage infusion is not just a tasty liquid, it's a biologically active fuse. It strikes exactly at the target, like an experienced healer who knows every hidden corner of your body.
It tricks the enzymes, preventing them from turning carbohydrates into fat ballast. Those carbohydrates that bloated your belly, which caused discomfort after every meal, begin to be assimilated differently, slower, calmer, turning not into fat, but into clean, long-lasting energy that you spend throughout the day. Pressure inside the abdominal cavity drops, and you suddenly feel how that heavy, dragging spasm, which you've grown accustomed to over many years, finally retreats, as if a tight, long-standing knot is untying. Your liver, our main worker, suddenly receives a powerful electrical signal to activate its hidden resources. This isn't just water with seeds. This is an order to your cells. Enough sleeping, time to change the program from storage to expenditure. Fat, which was previously blocked by oil in your ducts because your liver was simply busy trying to survive, suddenly becomes available for burning. This is a real hot hunt for reserves, which we awaken with our own hands by simply giving ourselves some attention and drinking the right infusion at the right time. You aren't just drinking an infusion, you are starting an engine. Your blood becomes more stable, it stops churning from sugar, carrying life and even warmth to every point of the body. You stop feeling that nasty constant numbness in your hands or feet in the morning. Your heart, which for years worked at the limit of its capabilities, constantly taking the fall for sugar spikes and fat loads, finally gets a chance to sigh, because it's much easier to pump clean, light, warm blood than thick, cold porridge overloaded with toxins and excess lipids. This isn't magic, it's pure, deep physiology that we awaken with our own hands. You will feel how life starts to flow through your veins faster, cleaner, and more joyfully. You will suddenly realize that you want to move, that you don't want to sit for hours in front of the TV. This is the energy that was locked inside you for years under a layer of cold fat. In the next block, I will tell you about the results of the first week. This will be the most amazing moment when you see a completely different person in the mirror for the first time in a long time, glowing from within, with shining eyes and toned skin that has stopped being grey and lifeless. You will see that your face can be firm and fresh without plastic surgery and cosmetologists, simply because you stopped feeding your fat with carbohydrates.
7 days, exactly 1 week of your new morning, or rather lunchtime ritual with the cabbage elixir separates you from a completely different reflection in the mirror. If you honestly, diligently drank this living water after every carbohydrate meal, observing our 30-minute pause, then by the 8th morning you won't recognize yourself. But the most amazing, most stunning thing won't happen on the scale, not in those dry, soulless numbers that so often deceive us, but in your well-being, in how you feel your own native body in space. The first thing you will feel, your belly has become soft, pliable. Remember that hard, painful, forever bloated lump you've carried for years that stuck out as if you'd swallowed a stone? It gave up. Our cabbage barrier protocol dissolved the oldest carbohydrate blocks in a week, and now your intestines have started working like perfect tuned Swiss watches. You will wake up for the first time in a long time without that unpleasant feeling of expansion, as if you've swallowed a huge, immovable, heavy ball that kept you from even taking a deep breath. The second thing that will amaze you and your loved ones is your face. I often say the liver is the mirror of your skin and the gut is its foundation. As soon as you swept out the toxins and products of improper carbohydrate exchange from within, they stopped coming out through the pores as grayness, pigment spots, or painful puffiness. That eternal morning swelling that makes you look older than your years will be gone. The whites of your eyes will become clean, clear, almost porcelain, and your facial skin will acquire a fresh, healthy tone, as if you've spent a week on the seashore and not under the yoke of constant diets. Aunt Pelagia always said, "Pure inside, bright face," and she was 100% right. And now about the scale. In the first week, my girls lose from 3 to 5 kilograms, 6 to 11 pounds, and I tell you honestly, looking you in the eyes, this isn't fat in its pure form yet. This isn't muscle mass. This is that very toxic shell, the extra poisonous stagnant fluid your inflamed, tired body held on to for years, fearing to let it go because chaos and cold reigned inside. You are literally throwing off an old, poisonous burden that has weighed you down for years. Your metabolism, which previously skidded like an old engine in freezing weather, has become free, fluid, and active. Now every calorie you get from food turns into vigor, movement, energy for your deeds, rather than hiding in the folds on your sides. You will notice that your head has become clear. That fog that weighted down your brain, making it hard to think and enjoy life, has vanished without a trace. You have become someone else, and this is just the beginning of your return to your true self. In the next block, I will give you a final shopping list and a 14-day cleansing schedule. We will create your personal slimming calendar, which is impossible to break because the results will please you every single morning. You will see how empty, hungry cells, which previously only knew how to demand sugar, suddenly fill with real energy and strength because you gave them the right tool for burning, not storing. This is the time of your transformation, the time when you reclaim your right to lightness, to beauty, and to a life full of color, not gray days waiting for another attack of fatigue after lunch.
My golden ones, listen to me very carefully now, please, more than ever before. We are discussing not just a brine or sour water, but the most powerful biological tool that changes your body's chemistry at the deepest cellular level. Tartronic acid. This is not just a salad dressing, this is a serious metabolic blocker created by nature itself, and any strong, truly effective remedy always has its strict boundaries and prohibitions. My herbalist mentor always told me, Val, there is great healing in a spoonful of brine for your vessels, but a cruel punishment for your stomach in a liter. And there are categories of people for whom this recipe might not only fail to help, but seriously harm if you don't show proper caution and consult with your doctor. The first and most important thing, if you have stones in your gallbladder or bile ducts, categorically no bile stimulation and no sauerkraut brine. Our cabbage barrier protocol forces the gallbladder to contract very intensely to drive out stagnation. If there are large stones there, they might move from their place under the pressure of this active bile, block the narrow duct, and instead of losing weight, you, God forbid, will end up on the operating table with an acute pain attack. If you know you have stones, first complete the course of their treatment under the strict supervision of a doctor, or simply refuse this idea.
Health is first and foremost your personal responsibility to yourself, to your life, to every step you take. If you haven't found yourself in this list of prohibitions, it means the path to a new life, to a metabolic shield, is open for you.
On the 8th day of our cabbage barrier protocol, the most important, most decisive moment of all our work begins. Your liver has finally cleared itself of the first, thickest carbohydrate load. Blood sugar levels have stopped jumping, and your body, which until this moment was in a state of deep defense, suddenly understands resources are being spent effectively, and we can finally get rid of old, garbage reserves. Now the real hunt for deep, visceral fat begins. You ask, what is it and why is it so insidious? Why is it so hard to lose with ordinary methods, even if you eat almost nothing? It's not at all that soft fat under the skin that we see in the mirror and can pinch with 2 fingers. It's dense, hard, very dangerous internal fat that envelops your liver, your heart, your pancreas, and your intestines, literally crushing them, preventing them from breathing and working fully. That is exactly what makes your belly so hard, sticking out from below, even if you eat almost nothing. This is not just excess weight. This is a time bomb that keeps your body in a state of constant, hidden inflammation, exhausting you more than any job. Ordinary diets almost never reach this fat because it is cunningly protected. It is surrounded by a dense shell of inflammatory proteins that don't let the body burn it. The body, while your intestines were bloated with gas and bile ducts were clogged with sludge, protected these vital organs with this fat shield and wouldn't give up the fat for anything, fearing starvation. But now there is no spasm. The liver is clean. Bile is fluid like a spring stream. Our tartronic acid from cabbage brine entering the blood begins to produce special enzymes, lipases. These enzymes work like tiny sharp scissors that literally chew huge petrified fat capsules into tiny particles that the body can easily turn into fuel for the work of your heart and muscles. You will notice an amazing thing. In the second week, the weight on the scale will go away slower, maybe 100 to 200 grams a day, but don't be scared and don't quit. Don't run straight to the scale. It's deceptive. It won't show the main thing. At this time, your measurements begin to melt before your eyes. Your waist begins to decrease faster than in the first days. Your belly will become soft, pliable. It will start going inward, and this is the surest sign that exactly this visceral fat is leaving. Aunt Pelagia always said, water leaves noisily and fast, but fat melts quietly like ice in the sun. Your old jeans or trousers will begin to zip up without any effort, without that agonizing sucking in of the stomach we've all gotten used to. You will feel how easy it has become to breathe fully because fat no longer presses on the diaphragm, no longer prevents the lungs from expanding. This is the time of the most active burning. This is the time when your body starts building itself anew from the inside, turning a ticking time bomb into a source of energy. Now I will show you on a diagram how active substances of the cabbage elixir penetrate deep into the fat tissue and begin to melt this dense layer from within, like a hot knife entering a piece of butter. This is the process of true deep liberation of your body from the shackles of age and years of accumulation, a process that returns you to the strength you thought was lost forever.
My golden ones, if you feel that after a week and a half your progress has slowed down a bit, or you just want all the active components of our cabbage protocol to work at ultimate, incredible power, I will tell you the secret that turns this drink into a real rocket engine for your metabolism. It needs a partner, a loyal ally that will help unlock all the properties of tartronic acid. Remember once and for all, the active components of our elixir, organic acids, require a conductor for deep tissue penetration and for proper work in the gut. Starting from the 10th day, I advise adding exactly 1/3 of a teaspoon of fresh ginger juice to your glass of water used to dilute the brine. Why ginger specifically? It contains a colossal amount of gingerol, a rare substance that works in tandem with tartronic acid from cabbage, creating that very dynamic emulsion that's absorbed by cells 3 times faster than plain water with brine. This creates an amazing effect of accelerated cleaning. While the infusion blocks the enzymes that turn carbohydrates into fat, ginger juice sends a powerful signal to your gallbladder. Signal received, time to work, but gently. The gallbladder contracts in a balanced way and splashes out a portion of fresh, thick bile, which picks up the dissolved fat and carries it straight to the intestines for exit, without causing sharp spasms, only pleasant warmth. It's like if you decided to wash very greasy dishes. The brine is your sponge that scrubs off the dirt, and ginger juice is the most effective detergent that instantly binds this fat into one whole. Together they work perfectly, like 2 halves of a whole. Besides, ginger juice contains rare essential oils that gently heal small cracks in the intestinal mucosa, making its walls smooth and healthy. Look at this process as a beautiful coordinated dance. You will see how active molecules combine into one structure, creating a real balm for the whole body. This isn't just food, this is an amazing dance of health in which every ingredient knows its role. But the most important is consistency and moderation. If you pour too much ginger juice, you will put an unbearable load on your stomach, and instead of lightness of cleansing, you will get unpleasant acidity. 1/3 of a teaspoon is that golden measure that Aunt Pelagia derived over decades of her experiments. Now, I will show you under a macro camera how to correctly combine these 2 forces, cabbage brine and a drop of ginger juice, so they turn into a powerful cleansing balm that leaves carbohydrates no chance to turn into fat folds on your waist. And in the next block, I will reveal the secret of the rest day, why once a week we must take a pause so as not to let the body get used to our treatment and not stop the incredible metabolic breakthrough you've already achieved. Listen carefully, because this is the foundation of a long and stable result you've dreamed of for years. Remember, my golden ones, one most important rule of any natural treatment that our wise grandmothers knew and that modern people so thoughtlessly forget. Medicine, no matter how effective it may be, should never become a boring, everyday routine. Otherwise, your body will simply get used to it, adapt, and stop reacting to it as something special. Aunt Pelagia, who lived a long, bright life and knew a lot about herbs, always said, "Let the earth rest after a long harvest, and it will give you a double rich crop." The same must be done with our body, giving it a chance to restore its internal resources and rest from active enzymes. Once a week, let it be Sunday, you completely cancel our morning or lunchtime ritual with the cabbage brine. You wake up, go to the kitchen and drink just a glass of clean, warm water. No brine, no ginger, no additives, only water. Why does our delicate biology need this? For 6 days of active intake, we constantly stimulated your metabolism. We forced your liver ducts and intestines to work. We constantly pushed our metabolism with the active components of the infusion. And here, on the 7th day, we give your liver, pancreas, and all digestive organs a well-deserved day off. On this day, the body must launch by its own memory the very processes we taught it all week. This is a kind of exam for your body. It must show that it learned how to work independently without our crutches and stimulants. If we don't take this pause, the receptors in the intestines will get used to the mustard oils and simply stop reacting to them as if they weren't there. The effect of fat burning could stop. This is that very notorious plateau when weight freezes and doesn't want to go away despite all your efforts. But rest day doesn't mean a day of gluttony. You shouldn't break down on this day for sweets, pastries, fried meat or fatty food. Otherwise you will kill the entire result you worked for so hard and give your resting liver a real shock. This evening we have another special ritual aimed at support, not stimulation. We feed our new invisible residents beneficial bacteria on which your immunity and mood depend, and the best treat for them is a baked apple. Bake 1 apple in the oven without sugar. You can add just a tiny pinch of cinnamon. When baked, a unique substance forms in it, pectin. Look at it through the eyes of a biologist. Pectin is the ideal prebiotic. It is the bread for your new microflora. While you are resting from the cabbage barrier, pectin gently heals small cracks in the intestines, nourishes your new microflora, and removes toxins. The morning after such a rest day, you will feel not just lightness, but a real surge of strength. The skin will become even lighter, the eyes brighter, because pectin will absorb the last remnants of toxins. Now I will show you the structure of a baked apple, its transparent jelly-like pectin fibers. This is the building material for your health, which is much more important than any stimulant. In the next block, I will show you the amazing results of my students who completed the full course and regained the lightness and flexibility they had forgotten decades ago.
My golden ones, now I want you to look very carefully, thoughtfully, at these photos sent to my email by my dear student Marina. She is 63 years old, and when she first came to me, she was in total black, impenetrable despair. Marina is a very kind, bright woman, but she had a severe metabolic syndrome that literally locked her in her own body. Weight 230 pounds, a huge, heavy belly that prevented her from even tying her shoelaces, and constantly aching, swollen knees that groaned with pain with every step. She came to me in tears and said, "Val, I only eat vegetables. I don't allow myself even a crumb of bread. I'm terrified to even look at a potato, but my belly grows as if it has a life of its own. I can't live like this anymore." She had that very chronic inflammation and frozen metabolism we're talking about today. She was literally poisoned from the inside by products of her own stagnant decay, because her body turned every crumb into fat and the enzymes worked against her. She was like a person living in a cage of her own weight, without strength, without joy, and without belief that tomorrow could bring anything good. We started our cabbage barrier protocol. Marina was surprisingly disciplined. She followed everything, from the correct selection of live brine to strict adherence to the 13-minute rule after eating. She called me on the 5th day and shouted in the receiver, not able to hold back tears of joy. "Val, I allowed myself to eat some baked potatoes, like you advised, and nothing happened. No bloating. I haven't felt this terrible heaviness for 5 years." This was her first, most important victory over her own fear of food that poisoned every meal she ate. But the most interesting part started after that. A month later, look at the result: 26 pounds lost. But believe me, it's not about the scales at all, and not about those hateful numbers that used to ruin her mood every morning. This isn't just a minus, it's the return of Marina herself to a full, vibrant life that she had almost buried under a layer of fat and constant fear of eating something wrong. Look at her face in this photo. That grey, painful shadow that made her look like an old woman is gone. The skin has tightened, the facial oval became clear, her eyes sparkle with that very mischievous spark we all had in our youth when we were healthy and full of strength. She wrote to me in a letter, "Val, for the first time in 20 years I feel light as a feather. I don't walk, I fly. I can climb to the 3rd floor and not get out of breath. I'm wearing my favourite dresses that were dusting in the closet again." When you block the transformation of carbohydrates into fat with tartronic acid, you don't just lose weight, you throw off the burden of old diseases that chained you to the sofa for years. After a course of this simple but brilliant brine, my girls get rid of chronic fatigue, their joints stop aching because their blood has become clean, not thick from sugar. The belly doesn't stand like a stone, it becomes soft, pliable, it goes inward, and you finally, after many years, see your waist in the mirror. This is the greatest reward a woman can get when your body stops being a prison and turns into a reliable, obedient instrument that gives you the joy of every movement. Now I will show you on a diagram how a clean organism that isn't clogged with carb garbage starts absorbing vitamins and minerals from food 3 times more efficiently. You will understand why after this course you need half the food to feel completely full and satisfied. Marina is not an exception, this is the rule. This is what waits every one of you if you show patience, discipline, and take this small but so important step towards your true health.
My golden ones, now you have in your hands the complete, detailed instruction to your new, light and healthy life, where potatoes or a piece of bread are no longer enemies, but a source of energy. So you start this path tomorrow without a single mistake. Let's gather our cabbage barrier protocol into a simple, clear cheat sheet. You can take a screenshot of this screen right now, or take your notebook and write everything down point by point so you don't miss a single important detail. Believe me, this is the very map that will lead you to your goal if you follow it without haste, day after day, with love for your body. Your entire Fat Shield kit will cost you less than 1 box of pharmacy pills, but the benefits are worth $1 million because you are investing in your liver, your vessels, your future youth, which can and must be regained at any age. Tomorrow, find real, live sauerkraut brine. This is your first, most important investment. Make sure it contains only cabbage and salt, no vinegar, sugar, or preservatives. If you can't find it in a store, it's time to ferment your own in a 3-gallon jar. This will be your metabolic safe, storing precious tartronic acid. Buy a glass jug with a tight lid to store this elixir in a cool place so it retains all its fermentative power for long weeks. Your 14-day schedule is your law of transformation that cannot be broken. The first week is a time for delicate tuning. To ensure your pancreas doesn't experience shock from enzymes working differently, we take only 2 tablespoons of live brine. Drink strictly 30 minutes after your biggest meal, where there were carbohydrates. At this time, your intestines, your bile ducts, are just starting to get acquainted with the new protector. They are learning to block extra calories without panic or spasms.
The second week is the time for big cleaning and active fat burning. We move to a full dose, the same 2 tablespoons, but now combined with our accelerator of ginger that I told you about. It is during these second 7 days that the tartronic acid will reach the deepest petrified fat deposits that have been sitting in your body's folds for years, not letting you lose weight. An important condition that many forget: always drink the brine diluted with warm water in small sips, stretching this process over a couple of minutes. And throughout the day, your law is 1.5 to 2 litres of clean water to help the body flush out fat breakdown products. Look at this process as launching a complex, high-tech filtration system in your home. In the first 3 days, excess poisoned water will leave. By the 7th day, your blood will become cleaner. You will feel how your heart beats more calmly without shortness of breath. By the 14th day, your belly will become soft, flat, and pliable, and that stony discomfort that has plagued you for years will disappear. I will show you under a macro camera what perfectly prepared ingredients look like so you don't mistake buying. You will see the purity of every molecule and understand health is not a luxury, it's just order and right habits. But remember, my dears, not 1 spoonful of sugar, not 1 piece of rich bread in these 2 weeks, otherwise our fat blocker will have to fight decay and sugar spikes. In the next block, I will answer the most important questions: what to do if you need to leave home, and how to lock in this incredible result forever so the glacier never returns. My golden ones, over the last week, while we were preparing this important issue, you simply flooded me with your questions. Let's answer the most important, most pressing ones right now, so you have no doubts about the correctness of your choice, so you feel confident on this path to warmth and slimness without starvation. People often ask, "Val, can I drink this cabbage brine if I have a tendency to swell? Won't I get worse from the salt?" My dears, this is the most common fear, but let's use logic. You swell not from salt, but because your lymph is standing like a swamp since it's accumulated a sea of sugar and insulin. As soon as we trigger the carbohydrate blocking process with tartronic acid, your body begins to shed that extra water it was holding on to as a safety ring. If you drink enough clean water, 2 litres a day, the salt from the brine won't linger. It will help conduct an electrolyte reset of the cells. But if you have serious kidney diseases, stop. No brine without a doctor's approval. Heal your kidneys first, and then we will deal with metabolism. Health is safety above all. The second question I get every day: can I replace the real brine with the one sold in pretty bottles in the store? No, no, and no again. The effect will be completely different. Do you understand? In the cabbage that you personally fermented, there is that living energy, the whole spectrum of volatile substances that work in a complex. Store-bought cabbage is a pickled product. It contains vinegar, salt, sugar, preservatives that only clog your gut and provoke new swelling. Store-bought vinegar brine is a direct path to gastritis, not a slim waist. If there is even the slightest opportunity, find a grandma at the market who pickles cabbage the old-fashioned way, only with salt and cabbage, without a single extra ingredient. This is your energy that you put into your own healing, not settling for chemical surrogates. The third question is, And if I missed one serving because of a trip or forgetfulness, is everything ruined? Nothing terrible will happen, my good ones. Don't panic. Just continue with the next meal. The main thing is not to quit entirely. Metabolism is like a heavy pendulum on an antique clock. If you've swung it once, it will continue moving by inertia for a long time. Even if you missed a couple of times, you aren't starting from zero. You are simply returning to your rhythm. And one more fear. Val, won't my blood pressure rise from the brine? You understand, blood pressure most often rises because the blood is thick from sugar and the vessels are clogged with bad cholesterol. When we remove insulin spikes with the help of brine, the vessels become softer, they stop spasming. My students' blood pressure, on the contrary, often returns to normal on this protocol because the excess load on the heart is gone. This is a sign of true recovery, not illness. Ask your questions in the comments. I will choose the most interesting ones for the next issue. Don't be afraid to change, because inside every one of you sleeps a beauty who just needs a little help to wake up, and we will definitely do it together, step by step, day by day, nourishing every cell with what the earth itself gave us.
My golden ones, my dear people, now this great secret of our ancestors, this wisdom of the earth, this cabbage barrier and the secret of blocking fat is entirely in your hands. I want you to realize one simple but incredibly important thing. You aren't just cleansing, you aren't just revving up your metabolism, you are doing something much greater. You are, in essence, liberating your life from that weight, from that sludge burden that for years didn't let you truly breathe with a full chest, enjoy every day, and feel light like in your youth. Many of us at our age have gotten used to humbly thinking that constant fatigue, persistent shortness of breath, aching joints, and this bulging, immovable, cold belly is some inevitable norm, a cross we must carry to the very end. But I beg you, don't believe it. Don't believe those who say that after 60, life is just a sunset, waiting for old age and eternal refusal of tasty food. Your body is an incredibly smart, subtle mechanism capable of infinite self-repair. You just need to help it a little, give it the right impulse, give it the very key we talked about so long, so detailed and so sincerely today. Your body wants to be slim. Your pancreas dreams of working again in a calm, natural rhythm, so you feel a surge of energy, not a desire to lie down an hour after lunch. Give your body this chance today, right now, and I promise you it will reward you with an energy you perhaps forgot you could ever dream of. Start tomorrow. Ferment this cabbage with love, collect this live brine, and take that first sip of freedom. And a week from now, looking at your soft, fallen belly, at your fresh, clear face, at your hands that have finally become warm, you will say to yourself, "Thank you, Val." Your new life begins not on Monday, not on New Year's, but with these 2 tablespoons of brine drunk after lunch. Write me right now in the comments who among you is ready to head out tomorrow for real, live cabbage and launch your own internal metabolic protection with me. I read each one of your words, I feel each one of your messages, and I sincerely, with all my heart, pray for each one of you, that everything works out for you, that the heaviness leaves, and the joy of movement and lightness in every step returns. be sure to subscribe to our channel and click the bell, because next Thursday I will reveal another secret from my old notebook. I will show you the iodine butterfly recipe, which will help wake up your thyroid gland. This is another small trick that will return the sparkle in your eyes and tighten the skin on your neck better than any expensive cosmetic intervention. Be healthy, be light, be young at heart, my dear ones. Remember, nature loves us. It gave us everything for healing. We only need to reach out. See you in our new, clean, light and happy life. Your Valentina.